Hey, Shalom Akim. First, foremost, give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bashim Yahushai, Bashim Rachak with us. The honors under the Ella's Apostle Great Millstone, the Ella's Great Millstone, and of course, peace and blessings under the hopeful elect, the sincere servants of Yahweh, Bashim Yahushai, serving him in truth and sincerity. Yes, on the brother Chayaba from ZMS Plain Tables Camp. Come back with another lesson to his spirit. This lesson be based off this article from nationalnews.com, which is entitled, it says, Treasury Secretary admits parts of U.S. economy are in recession, warns of pain for Americans. And hey, obviously you understand there's a lot of things happening with the economy. Of course, we know that what the government shutdown is still in effect. The benefits are being affected. So obviously we know SNAP shut down. A lot of people are being affected by that. Of course, about going to food banks. And hey, again, it shows you that we are in those times. And it goes to show that also what the great debt that America has is catching up. And ultimately, you can't heal Babylon from its debts. And the scriptures go into it. So to read this, it says, Habakkuk chapter 2 and 4, it says, Behold, this soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. And we understand those what their soul isn't lifted up or upright in them, of course, is Esau. Esau, the so-called white man. And what we know, his main headquarters, his main nation, his number one nation is America. Of course, you have other countries that Esau, or that's basically Edomite nations, such as countries within the EU and the NATO. But America is that main place. So it says, Habakkuk chapter 2 and 4, Behold, the soul which lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. It says, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell. He transgresseth by wine, meaning he goes around these other nations, polluting these other nations with his agenda, his philosophies. We already know the big, all the perverseness, wickedness has pushed heavily within Babylon Great. You got the Alpha community. Basically you have the lifestyle that's heavily pushed here. Within America being pushed around the basically what the other parts of the world, everywhere around the planet, Esau's pushing his agenda. Basically the of course the way that he runs his society, the infrastructure. Again, it's all being pushed around these other nations. That's why, you see these other nations, they do have some of their traditions. But we see, again, they take a lot of inspiration from this place. And obviously, the ways of America of course, they cause a decline onto the earth. They degrade the earth. It says, he is a proud man, so Habakkuk chapter 2 and 5. Also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied. So he neither keepeth at home, meaning he goes around these other nations, wanting to have power over these other nations, again, by pushing his agenda. And obviously, he creates propaganda, so he has a reason to drain these other nations of their resources. It says, who enlarges his desire as hell. Let's get the word for desire within the Hebrew. Hebrew word is napash, meaning soul, life, person, mind, heart. So his way, whatever's in Esau's mind, his mindset, his heart, his life, the way that he lives his life. the wickedness that's in his soul, again, he pushes it around the earth. He spreads his soul, which is full of wickedness and, of course, demonic spirits. We know Esau's a demon from the ground up, and he spreads it around the whole earth. It says, so who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Yeah, so he's as death. Because again, the Edomite way, the way of the so-called white man, is death. That's why, again, when he came to the Americas, death followed suit. Well, of course, he came with diseases. And literally he came with death by bringing it. By completely slaughtering the natives of this land, of course, which are the northern kingdom of the nation of Israel. So Israelites, he slayed many Israelites. The majority of them, he again, everybody within America, all the northern kingdom, he enslaved and conquered, and ultimately he slaughtered them, he conquered and put them into slavery, in subjection. And also, as well as the southern kingdom. Of course, we understand how he rounded up the southern kingdom, so-called, the so-called Negroes from West Africa, because our people fled. The southern kingdom fled from the Roman persecution back in 70 A.D. onto Africa, and the majority of the southern kingdom went onto West Africa. So he brought the so-called Negroes from this land. It's like he brought the so-called Negroes from West Africa onto the Americas, and he completely, put a whole manner of hell upon them. Again, so he put a whole manner of hell upon the Israelites. Killed a lot of us. Again, put us into slavery. Again, this is what the devil has done. So he is as death, and he goes around the whole world doing it. We see all these world wars that he starts. And again, the Esau, we understand how the Edomites behind this. It starts, of course, with the elites of Esau. The international banking families. They own all the money in the world. All the money goes back onto them. So they go around the whole world, again, pushing, and is as death. So it says, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Yeah, so he can't be satisfied. He has to get more and more. This devil always has to get more and more. He's never satisfied. Isaiah chapter 10 and 1, it goes into how, let's go ahead and not butcher it, basically the unrighteous decrees. Isaiah 10 and 1, it says, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees and right grievousness which they have prescribed, that to turn aside the needy from judgment, and to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey, that they may rob the fatherless. Yeah, taking away the benefits. Which, ultimately, it's some, again, we understand it's some of our people where they abuse it. They abuse the system. But hey, it's some people who they truly, they sincerely need it. Again, so what this devil ultimately wants to get people 100% dependent upon the system. And we understand that's why he's bringing these laws into effect. Again, to make people more dependent upon him. It says, and cannot be satisfied. So going back to Habakkuk chapter 2 and 5, it says, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Yeah, so he can't be satisfied. Everything he does, again, is grievous unto the earth and is grievous unto the Israelites. First and foremost. Again, we understand these other nations are affected too, but hey, again, we know that Esau's putting the most upon our people, understanding that we are the people of the Most High. At least we multiply and outnumber Esau, and of course, as all throughout history, Esau understands that if he lets Jake build on their own, then ultimately Esau will get overthrown. So that's why Esau, again, keeps us divided. And aims, again, to keep us in subjection under him. It says, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and keepeth unto him all people. Again, so he goes around the whole world. So going to verse 6, it says, shall not all these take up a proverb, or Slakia says, shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe. It says, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his, how long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. Yes, going back to the article. It was going into it says, Treasury Secretary amidst parts of U.S. economy are in recession, warns of pain for Americans. And again, we understand how this place is in great debt. And you can go into the debt clock. And we understand that it's only so long until this economy completely breaks, and ultimately this is what they want. At least they want the economy to completely shatter, and the system to completely crash. So they bring in a new system, which is ultimately the new world, the NWO that they want to bring, the new order. So when you get that word for thick clay is going into debt. So the word for thick clay, it says ibatiat, meaning it says weight of pledges, heavy debts. So heavy debts, i.e. it says pawn goods, something pledged. Yeah, so again, this place is loaded with debt. Again, you go into the debt clock is in the trillions. In this rapidly increasing. Let's go ahead and look up the debt clock real quick. So you can see right here, 38 trillion as of today. It says, the national public debt outstanding represents the face amount or principal amount of marketable and non-marketable securities currently outstanding. So you see it's a massive number. Again, so this place only has so long. And we can see how it's right around the corner where this place will crack. It says U.S. total debt, unfunded / interest. U.S. total interest paid includes household, business, state, and local governments, financial institutions, and the federal government, 105 trillion. So again, it's only so long until this place completely cracks. So read a little of this article. It says the Treasury Secretary admits parts of the economy are in recession. He blames Federal Reserve interest rates for creating distributional problems. A Federal Reserve governor warns tight policy risk causing a full-blown recession. Deaths of despair have accelerated to triple the rate of the Great Depression, the government shutdown is actively harming economic growth. Yeah, so of course, this government shutdown is playing into that too. Yeah, it says the American economy, long touted by the Trump administration as the strongest in history, is showing some very alarming cracks. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has finally conceded that the entire sectors of the nation's economy have already fallen into a recession, directly contradicting the White House's relentless optimism. This bleak assessment, delivered on CNN, confirms what millions of Americans already feel. The financial stability of the nation crumbling, or it says is crumbling, under the weight of failed policies and out-of-touch leadership. Secretary Bessent pointed to the housing market as a primary casualty. It says, I think we are in a good shape, but I think that there are sectors of the economy that are in recession, Bessent stated. He placed blame squarely on the Federal Reserve, arguing its high interest rates have caused distributional problems. The Treasury Secretary warned that lower income consumers are being hit the hardest by soaring mortgage rates because they tend to have more debts. Yeah, and that's the point. It says the Treasury Secretary's admissions stand in contrast to President Trump's relentless boosterism. Just weeks ago, the president declared, "We have the best economy we've ever had." Again, and Esau speaks, as the scriptures say, his words are like butter, smooth as butter. So he can lie easily, and make it sound like they're the best thing. It says, yet the American people are not buying it. Polling consistently shows a majority of Americans believe the president's policies have made the economy worse. A CNN poll found 61% of the public holds this view, while a CBS News /YouGov poll showed 60% disapprove of Trump's handling of the economy. This disconnect between official pronouncements and lived experience reveals an administration that is either dangerously out of touch or deliberately misleading the public. The promise of a golden age has given way to the reality of a housing recession, a debilitating government shutdown, and a historic crisis of despair. For small business owners and working families, the economic pain warned about months ago is no longer a future threat, but a present reality. I believe it's a little bit more, but I believe that's it. But hey, the point is that things are catching up, man. And then it's only so long until this place completely collapses. Again, so you have all these factors coming into play. You have, of course, what the shutdown. Different policies that are in effect, and of course, what the great debt that this place has. So it's only so long until all of it catches up. Again, the collapse of this place is right around the corner. Getting Jeremiah chapter 51 and 8, it says, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Or the start of verse 7, it says, Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord Yahweh's hand, that made all the earth drunken. It says Jeremiah chapter 50 and 7, Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord Yahweh's hand, that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. Yeah, again, the ways of America, the philosophies of it. And again, what the Lord used America to push the perverseness among the whole entire planet. Because ultimately we are in Esau's world. Esau is in his blessing right now. It says Jeremiah chapter 51 and 8, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her. Take a balm for her pain. If so, she may be healed. It It says verse 9, we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Exactly. So you can't heal this place. No matter who's in office, no matter what laws are brought into place, no matter what policies are in effect, no matter what's done in order to try to bring this place back up, you can't do it. Again, so it doesn't matter who's in office. Trump, Nero, it doesn't matter that he's in office. Again, you can't stop the inevitable collapse of Babylon the Great. You can't stop it. So it says, Jeremiah chapter 51:9, we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go everyone into his own country, for her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is lifted up even to the skies. And we understand, with the collapse of this place, well, all hell is going to break loose. As scriptures go into pestilence, famine, earthquakes in diverse places, people will rising up, sedition, militia groups, anarchy at its max. Again, all these things are coming. Purge, purge-like events. It's going to be like the purge very, very soon. And at the end of all that, again, we understand Esau going to bring in a new system, the MOTB, the Mark of the Beast, the chip. We understand he's going to bring that, the implant. That ultimately he's planning to put or the mandate upon everybody to take. And ultimately, we know the last thing that awaits this place is destruction, because these other nations will destroy America. We understand World War III is prophesied within the scriptures. So the final thing that awaits Babylon Great is destruction. Yahweh Bashmi Shah will put the spear upon these other nations to shoot their nuclear missiles upon Babylon Great. We understand how the Lord, it says, Jeremiah chapter 51:10, the Lord Yahweh hath brought forth our righteousness. Come and let us declare in Zion the work of our Lord Yahweh, our power. Exactly. And we understand, ultimately, Tawadi Yahweh Bashmi Shah, we have the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And we know what's going on. We know that this is all the Lord's doing. And ultimately, the Heavenly Father Yahweh will send back his son Yahushai to deliver his elect from this country. Again, because if the Lord didn't deliver us, then the elect will perish in the destruction of this place. So again, you have a complete collapse coming, and ultimately destruction to end it all off. And what the Lord would deliver his elect from this country. Everybody else would perish within that fire, that nuclear fire, that America, that Babylon Great will go through. What the elect of the nation of Israel, the Lord will deliver. The 1/3 of the nation of Israel within America, the Lord will deliver. The 2/3 of the nation of Israel will be left behind. And everybody else, all the heathen that are within America, they're going to perish 100% within that fire. When all that's going to be left is dust. So again, this is what awaits. So Lozo Yibelaz edified, Yahweh Bashmi Al Shah, Bashmi Kakarash Pakathum, Shalom.